today we are going to be looking at relationships. And because relationship is a very wide topic and vast, in fact, I told her it's not something that we can finish in one day. It's something that I can start discussing. I have up to 10 parts. But because of time constraints, we are going to limit our discussion to three areas. Okay, we are going to look at values and self-love. Okay, it's under its one area. Then we are going to look at general mistakes that women make in relationships that keep them bound. Okay, because remember, we are talking about busting forth. So we are looking at ways that we can change certain things in our relationship, whether single or married, that can help us launch out and become that person and practice our GLA, right? So, and the third part is going to be communication. Okay, so we have heard about you. So I want to start by asking you, what do you think are some of the general mistakes? Because I know that there are some mistakes that are particular to certain people, but what are some of the general mistakes that women make in relationships, both before marriage and after marriage?
Okay, thank you, Grace. Thank you for having me. Okay, like you said, the topic of relationship is really vast and it's very wide, so when we're talking about mistakes, there are several mistakes, and relationships are peculiar to the individuals and the couples involved. So we're going to talk about the general mistakes, but if you have any comments, you could drop your comments, you could drop questions, and we can respond to your questions. But we're going general because relationships are individual specific and they are very sensitive topics, to deal. Okay, so I would first of all start with there's what I call the scale of preference. What do you want? What's your scale of preference? What do you prefer in a relationship? Most times, you see people say, I want a God-fearing man. I want him to love God. I want him to at least be comfortable in what he does. Like at least he should work. He should be able to cater for his family, So that's not wrong. That's not wrong at all, but there are some basic things that some people forget, or not really forget, they ignore, especially in the relationship aspect before getting into marriage. And then you get into marriage and find out that these things turn out to be serious things, that should have been considered from the beginning. Okay, for example, what kind of empathy does your partner possess? How does if your partner is a CEO, it's good to, be with a boss, it feels good. But how does he treat his staff? How does he treat his support staff? How does he treat his domestic staff? How does he, if we're stepping out, to have a sit out, how does he treat the steward or the stewardesses? Those kinds of things can help you understand the kind of person you're dealing with. But when you ignore those things, or you feel like, it's good, he's a man, he should express that kind of control, and he will eventually do it to you when you get married. So those are the kinds of things I feel people ignore that they should look out for. How empathetic is your partner? How is he willing to share the littlest of items he has? It's easy when you have millions, you can give out freely. But when you have very little, are you willing to actually share what you have? What is your how does your partner react when there's so much money? Is he quick to want to invest, or is he quick to want to spend? Sometimes those are things that are ignored, because even when he's quick to want to spend, he's spending on you, so you're not complaining. But by the time you get into the marriage, you find out that, okay, he's spending incessantly, and then you want to start complaining. This is something that you probably would have curtailed, or you would have talked about while in the relationship. Now, talking about that's one aspect of it. I'll also say that coming into the marriage now, because I've spoken about things that I feel people should look out for, apart from the general concept of God fearing, and all that, things that you should look out for before you get into a relation, or while you're in a relationship, going into the marriage. Now you're in the marriage, and we're assuming that you're married to someone who is focused, who is God fearing, who loves God, who has the same values and understands you, So now, some of the mistakes some people make, especially in marriage, is holding on to selfishness. If you're selfish, it can't work. That means you keep thinking about yourself every time. You just keep talking about yourself and thinking about yourself, and you're not thinking about your partner. It won't help you grow in your home, And then let's also talk about overlooking your faults. We all have faults. You can't say you don't have faults. We all have faults. You have faults, I have faults, my partner has faults. But most people they're so quick to pick the faults of their partners. He did this, he did that, he did this, he did that, forgetting that you have your own faults. And when you work on yourself, the blame game reduces. Sometimes he probably reacted because you did something, but you forget what you did, and you're quick to hold on to what your partner did. So the blame game thing is also a very major mistake that helps marriages deteriorate. And then I would also like to state at this point that it's like the opposite of the point I just mentioned. Identify the strengths of your partner. Work on your partner's strengths. Embrace his strengths. If he's someone who is the fixer, likes to fix the lights, likes to help fix the car, likes to amplify his strengths. Encourage his strengths. Tell him about his strengths. Tell him how what he has done has helped you, has helped the home, has helped the kids. Instead of working on the blame game and saying you didn't do this, you didn't do that, you self, you're supposed to take the kids to school, you didn't take. Look for the good things he did. He probably woke up in the morning and helped to give the kids a bath. So amplify the strengths of your partner, and that will help. I think I'll probably have to stop. If I have to stop, let me know.
Yes, thank you so much for that. Before we go on, please, I indulge you. Please drop your questions, because I want us to treat some of these things with specific case studies. So please don't be shy. That is one of the reasons for this event, so that we can be able to express ourselves. You can send it directly to me. If you don't know how to use the send directly to me, before you send in the chat, you'll see where there's everybody. Just click on the drop down and locate my name, then send to me. I'll ask the question, okay? So please send in your questions. I know why I'm saying this. All right, going forward, please, I want to ask you another thing, because from what you have said, it's really important for women to look at themselves, to be able to look at their partners, to bring out the best in their partners, and also get what they want from their partners. But we make some of these mistakes and it affects us. So do you think our value system has anything to do with this? And does it have anything also to do with our self-esteem and self-love when it comes to becoming ourselves, or achieving what we want to be, being who we want to be in our marriages and relationships?
Let me get you right. You're asking if our value system can affect our marriages positively,
yes,
and our relationships positively, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, my answer will be yes. And I was smiling throughout when the first speaker was talking about the driven mindset, because that covers a lot about the value system. Going out there, pursuing your dreams, doing what you really need to do. Yes, it affects our marriages. You can't get into a relationship or get into a marriage being numb, not knowing yourself or not knowing what you want to do. I'll also state that value, self-esteem, self-love, they are all correlative. They function conjointly. I can't be in a relationship and I don't know where I'm going to. It's more like I'm coming in with an empty head and I'm letting you give me I should have direction. I should be able to tell you, okay, hi, my name is Sophia. I'm a lawyer. I hope to work with the United Nations one day. I hope to, so he knows who he's dealing with. He knows that he's talking to, or he's coming closer to someone who has dreams, who has aspirations, and who wants to go somewhere. And someone who loves you and wants to be with you will push you anywhere your mind sets you to. But if you don't have your own dreams and purpose, and sometimes some men will just look at you. They wake up in the morning, they look at you, good morning, good morning. They've gone their way because you're not really telling them what you really want to do. And even when they now want to make the decisions for you, you find out that it now goes the opposite way. It's not really what you want to do, but you're not telling them what you want to do, or you're not making that effort to show that you're doing something. You could wake up and say, babe, I'm going through an online course now. I was thinking of doing something in the tech world. What do you think? At least he now knows that, okay, my babe or my wife is, thinking of the tech world, and he might even bring ideas and help you achieve that. But when you're numb, you're not driven, you're not purpose driven. It's more like you're working aimlessly. The fact that you're married does not mean that your dreams are, tangled, or your dreams have stopped, or your growth level has stopped. No, you're married is just one aspect of your life. Growth is another aspect of your life. You owe yourself a duty to bring them together, harmonize them, and make them work for you. So I was very happy when I heard the first speaker speak about mindset. So when it comes to values, I'll refer everyone back to the first speaker's notes, go through them very well. It was really powerful. And talking about self-esteem, you cannot express your value without having the right self-esteem. It's not possible. You need to consciously work on your self-esteem. Self-esteem is telling yourself that I am good, I'm better. It's not complex. It's not like you're having superiority complex or anything. It's like telling yourself that I can't do this thing. I shouldn't make myself feel bad. I can't do this. So it's a conscious effort. You have to consciously tell yourself, I can do this. And that goes for self-love as well. And then I'll also say that when your value is intact, your self-esteem is intact, and your self-love is intact, you're a fixer. No man wants to be with someone who would not even give him ideas. Like I'm with my husband and he's telling me he's trying to do this and that. And I'm like, okay, I think I have a few ideas for you. This business might work. This one might not work. And he's like, okay, my wife is intelligent. So every man wants to be with someone who is enterprising, someone who is giving them ideas, someone who is giving them vibes. But when you're just there, you're not building yourself. When you build yourself, unconsciously, you build the next person close to you. And in a relationship or in the marriage, the very next person close to you is your partner. So building yourself is not just for you alone, it's for your partner, it's for your children. As you build yourself, you get ideas to share with your partner, you get ideas on how you can make your children express themselves better, so you're a fixer. There's a problem and maybe your husband shares it with you and you're saying, okay, I think I have a few ideas that might work. You need to be valuable. If you're not valuable, you can't even be respected, both in the marriage, both in the society, at work, you can't be respected. So you need to be valuable. Now, you also need to love yourself and be responsible for your growth. I've said that before. And consciously work on your self-esteem.
Yeah.
Lastly, I would like to say that the only way you can have value in your relationship, or the only way you can be valued in your relationship, is how you value yourself. If I don't tell myself, I would love to have a PhD one day, I would love to have a master's one day, my husband will not know. He'll feel like maybe I'm just okay with my first degree and giving birth to children, balancing. And no, it doesn't work like that. But I remember, let me share a personal story. I remember after I got married, I kept saying I wanted to do masters. I applied for this masters 5 times. And all the 5 times he kept supporting me. He never complained, And at some point I got fed up with myself. I was like, what's wrong with me? Every time I set my mind to do this, it doesn't work. Probably work, family, issues, pregnancies, and all that. And one day I asked him, I was like, why is it that at every point when I tell you I want to apply for a master's, you keep telling me, okay, process it. He says no, he wants me to be what I want, and thank God I was through with one of my masters, but it's not easy, really. It's difficult, but you need to consciously tell yourself that you can do it. Like our first speaker said, it's very uncomfortable, but you need to consciously tell yourself, I can do this, I can be valuable, I can be a fixer, and I can achieve what I set my mind to do. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. We have a question. We actually have two questions, but
Wow.
one is directly related to what you are talking about now. So the question is,
okay,
what if you really don't have a dream, or you have not even discovered your purpose and you are married? What do you do?
Okay. That's a that's a very strong question, really, because a lot of people fall in that category, But I'll tell you one thing. That's why we have God. That's why we have family. That's why we have pastors. That's why we have a community, people around you, your friends. You need to talk to people. Talk to people who will influence you positively. By the time you talk to 1-2 persons who give you ideas, you will know that, okay, this idea is tilting to what I might like to your partner. Okay, I really want this for you. Talk to your mom, talk to your sisters, talk to your community, your church members, your friends. If you tell them that this is what I really want to do, and I really don't know what I want, first off, and it's not wrong to keep trying. It's not wrong to keep trying, I've tried to do cocktails before. I went online one time to learn how to make cocktails and mocktails, and my friend was telling me that I think you can service parties and all that. I knew that yes, I could. I learned it and it was good, but I had difficulties with putting it into a business angle, and I left it. I went into chops. I started learning how to make chops. So there's nothing wrong with trying and trying and trying till you come up with something you're comfortable with, So there's really nothing wrong with that. So talk to people. If the person who asked this question, really has this issue, you can even reach me directly after this program, and I don't mind having a chat with her. So that's it. You just need to talk with people. You need to talk to the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit teaches us all things, so that's it.
Yeah, thank you. Am I permitted to add something?
Yes, please.
All right.
Sure, go
Let
ahead.
me say one thing. Okay, let me just add something before we go on. If you discover that you seem not to have purpose, one thing I would say you should do is ask yourself a question. What do you really want?
What do I love to do?
Yes. And secondly, ask yourself, why? Why do I want to do this? Why do I like this? What is that thing that when you do it, you just get happy? It doesn't,
joy.
yes, gives you joy. It's like it's without stress. Okay. You can start from there too. Just keep trying different things. Before you know it, you see yourself. And then also,
sometimes there's some people who have regular jobs, but they really don't enjoy the job. They just like to do it because, of course, it puts food on the table. You probably also fall in that category of, you probably have not really discovered what you enjoy doing. But pay attention to your daily activities, and you find out that what you really love to do is that this was what I loved to do, what I'm doing right now, talking about relationships, counseling people, teaching and all. I really didn't know that until one of those days. I was doing it like on a passive mode, and then one of those days my pastor met me and told me that he wanted me to have a talk in church and put up like a series, and I kept telling him I can't do it, sir. So I really can't do it. He said, no, I really feel you can do it. Unconsciously, he saw it in me, but I really didn't see it in myself. And then I started enjoying it, and I was like, okay, this is what I really love to do. So sometimes you have a regular job, but it might not really be what you want to do, what you love to do. Your passion might be a hobby, something that you stumbled on, and it gives you so much joy and pleasure. Even when it causes you sleepless nights, you're not complaining, you're not worried, because it's what you really love to do. Yeah,
thank you for that awesome response. Okay, before we go into the part of the communication, I want to ask the third question, because the next one is going to be on communication. The person asked, just a moment, let me get the question. Okay, said, what about a lady who is healing from some bad experiences from the past? How can she help herself and not hurt her partner?
Okay. First off, I would say, if you're hurting, please don't get into a relationship. Heal yourself. Love yourself. Forgive yourself. Forgive your ex. Make sure you're healed and you're whole before you get into a relationship. If not, you make your partner suffer for the sins of someone else. So if you're healing, my advice will be, please don't get into a relationship. Get yourself fixed first, because you really need to be fixed. Fix yourself, and then go into a relationship with a full mindset. What do you call that thing in computer? Reset. Press your reset button. So go into the relationship with a reset mindset. That would be my answer to that.
Thank you so much for that response. In fact, you just hit the nail on the head. Okay, so right now I'm going to ask. In fact, I don't want this to end. I don't want this session to end. I'm really enjoying myself. I'm going to ask about communication. Oh, if I start thinking about communication, because out of communication, a lot of things crop up. In fact, communication alone can be
actually the bedrock of everything.
Yes. Because, but I would like you to touch on certain things when it comes to communication, because I've seen a lot of women suffer because of these things, and they are not able to communicate. Number one is sex. Very, very important. Number two is domestic chores. It's very important. Number three, finance. Finance and career. I don't know how you are going to do it, but I don't know if you can touch on these things. Please, if you have any question, I'm indulging you to please bring it on, because we're going to talk about a lot of things. It's unfortunate that we don't really have a lot of time, because I don't want to keep us here for a very long time. So please, over to you, Barrister.
Okay. If we're talking about communication, I would like to add conflict resolution to communication, because whenever there are issues to be sorted out, it's only achieved when there's accurate communication. So I would like to talk about communication / conflict resolution. The truth is, you cannot have a healthy relationship or marriage without effective communication. And by communication, I'm not talking about and then you look at it and you do I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about being able to express yourself. It's not like it's not painful or it's not hurtful, but being hurt is one thing. Being able to pass the message to your partner that you are hurt is another thing, because sometimes you're so hurt that you really cannot control yourself. So first of all, I'll say put yourself together. There are sometimes you're so upset that sometimes I'll just wake up in the night and I'll just look at him, I'll say, make a beat him, Abia for just knock him, make it sweet me for belly, for just knock him small. but God has a way of helping us. Trust me. But so I'll say that communication is really important. But for you to establish effective communication, your partner needs to be your friend. If he's not your friend, it will still be difficult, no matter how cordial you people are. I had to consciously make my husband my friend. And that's because by the time we were getting married, I had friends. I went to a mixed school and I'm so close to my secondary school mates, so I had lots of friends who were guys, and we spoke a lot, we talked a lot. He had lots of friends as well. So unconsciously, we found out that when we had probably issues, you just find yourself maybe talking to someone else apart from your partner, which is not wrong. But then again, you need to bond, especially in the early stage of your marriage. Bonding is important. And one of the ways you can achieve bonding is by communication. And personally, how I helped myself bond was by making him understand what was going on with me, like every second. Like I'm at work, I have a challenge, I call him. If he probably doesn't pick, I send him a chat. I have an issue at work. Please, can you respond or call me? I need to hear your opinion on what to do. It's not like ordinarily I wouldn't have sorted it up alone, but I just need him to understand what I go through or what my daily activity is, and sometimes I tell him my subordinate did this, I feel like I should give him a query or something, and he says, no, I don't think you should give him a query. I think you should talk to him. That's applying friendship. This is the funny thing that happened. When I kept doing that, he unconsciously started doing the same thing. He started, he has an issue, he calls me, and, somehow from accurate communication, he entered gossip level, that kind of thing. So communication is very, very important, and it will help us a lot. And some of the things I would like to state, with communication, when you're trying to communicate and also resolve conflict, I'll say do not bear grudges. No matter how it pain you, reach talker, say it. Yes, it might sometimes, like, if I'm trying to communicate and I'm angry and shouting, he'll just look at me quietly. And when I'm done, maybe after like 1 or 2 hours, he'll now tell me his mind. If both of you are shouting at the same time, it won't work. Same thing too. Even when he's shouting and he's upset, in my mind, I know that I'm right too, but I'll just like keep quiet because I know that at that don't enter. And the essence of communication is so that it go enter. Don't be like say I just they talk, they waste my mouth. It has to enter. So I have to wait till when he's vulnerable enough to get the message I'm trying to pass. So I will also state, do not bear grudges. It's very important, please. Grudges are not allowed. It will just keep piling up and piling up and piling up. The day everything goes scatter, you wonder. I remember a long time ago, one of my friends who told me she had left and I was wondering what exactly is the problem. You hear things like he keeps malice. He said I don't sweep. He said I don't entertain his friends. He said flimsy things, but they were deep for her because these were things that had piled up over the years, and you just keep keeping it in your mind. So please don't bear grudges, please. Secondly, I think I've mentioned this before, get the right timing. When you have the right timing, you know when to talk to your partner, when he's vulnerable enough to listen. And you too, please, they calm down, be calming down yourself too. I know that we women, we can be really emotional and sometimes we just want to explode, and all that, but we also need to calm down and try to see things from our partner's point of view. And when it comes to conflict resolution, the goal sometimes is not that you want to be right. The goal is that you want a solution. Most times this solution might not come through you, but sometimes we need to overlook that fact that I probably have a better, I'm right, you're wrong. How do we solve this problem? That should be the goal, So consider your partner's point of view. By all means, be objective when you're trying to sort out an issue. Don't get personal. And that is how you're always doing it. Don't get personal. Be objective. Hit the issue. Talk about the main issue. I think this issue would affect the kids and all that. Not that that you're always somehow. When you're scolding the kids, you're always doing something. Hit the nail on the head. Let's talk about the issue and leave and don't get personal. Have the right manner of approach. Then avoid threats and blackmail. Sometimes in the beginning it will work, but we're all humans. With time we'll develop resistance to the threat and blackmail. You want to threaten me? Go ahead. So we would eventually develop resistance. So instead of threat, blackmail, look for a positive angle to it and communicate. So that's what I'll also talk about. And then when we talk about domestic responsibilities, I'm guessing you mean like domestic chores. Will you help me or not? Who pick the kids from school, and all that.
Yeah.
Communication solves that problem. When you communicate rightly, you don't have an issue with domestic responsibilities because somehow unconsciously you guys communicate. So you don't have an issue. The only time you have an issue with domestic responsibilities is when you're not communicating. So you're sitting down and assuming, you're not a witch. How will you know what your partner is thinking? So you need to communicate. If I'm running late, if I'm to pick the kids from school and I'm running late, or I know I can't make it, I should be able to send you a message and say, babe, please help me, and all that. So once your communication is settled, you don't have an issue with domestic responsibilities. You also mentioned career and finances. What aspect of career and finances are you talking about?
There are some women that they want to pursue their career. I know that you touched on it initially.
Okay.
Okay, but we're
Yeah.
talking about communication here. With are women that
Okay.
what they want to do is within them, but they're afraid
But
that
they don't know how to express it.
their spouse or their partner may not support them in their career. So how is the best way to go about it, like to communicate, have this communication about your career and with your partner?
Okay, and then for finance, I'm guessing you're talking about how and when to spend money, or do we have joint accounts, or how do we sort out bills at
Yeah,
home and all that?
exactly. Yes.
Okay, okay. For finance, I'll say that most times this is very easy to be discussed before marriage, but even while in the marriage it's easy. Like for me, what I do is by January I come up with, like a time, not really like a timetable, like, okay babe, by March, by February we'll be paying fees, by April we'll be paying fees, by September fees, we have house rent, we have, okay, this is where I can come in, but this is I also have a master's program running. He might say, okay, he intends to run a program as well, so that way unconsciously we have already mentally put ourselves in the mood to set the year rolling, and I've told him that, okay, I can come in this way, I can come in that way. Communication helps everything. If you're the type that is into joint accounts, okay, we're putting so amount out for this year to sort out the bills for this year. If you're not the joint account kind of person, I'm bringing in this, I'm helping you with maybe half or first time fees or something, but there is nothing you really cannot achieve with communication. Finances sometimes are also personal and to the individuals, so that's what I can say for now, except there's a specific question on finances. But adequate communication can help finances work better.
Yeah.
I can do this, I can do that. If we're investing in a land, we need to talk about it. If we're building, we need to talk about it, how to raise funds for that. And it's when you don't talk, you just wake up one day and say that your partner has gotten a land or he bought a car or something, and then in your head you're like, but why are you even buying this car when you know that we have school fees to pay? What kind of, sometimes, when you start early, it saves you the headache of thinking too deeply, or giving yourself some level of high blood pressure. Now for career, I believe that when it comes to career, we are solely responsible for ourselves. I should be able to tell my partner that I this is how far I want to go, and if he wants me to go further, he would also probably mention or not. If you have a partner who has a problem with your growth, there's wahala. Let's hope that it's during the relationship, so that you know, if you're telling him then and then that, see, I'm the type that likes to grow. I'm not the type that is comfortable with where I am, because there are some ladies who unconsciously like to move. Like they set up a business, is working well, and they just feel like, oh, I need to get higher, I need to get higher. There's nothing wrong with dreaming. So he needs to understand that I'm a dreamer and I like to go for my dreams, So I'm believing that we are going to be with people who are ready to support our career growth and our career paths. But you can also find a way to make your partner understand that this is who I am. This is what makes me happy. It won't stop me from being a good wife to you. It won't stop me from being a good mother to you. And it won't also stop me from, running the home, but I just need to progress career-wise. And also businesses. If you intend to maybe go into a business, you're trying to convince your partner that, okay, I want to do this business, so what do you think, and all that. Sometimes it's really not easy. I'm
Yeah.
someone that's thought of crazy businesses, There was even a time I told my husband I wanted to start kerosene business, and I was saying it with so much seriousness. And he just looked at me and he was laughing and laughing and laughing, like, what is wrong with this woman? There's no business I've not thought of, But the day I now decided to do a business, he knew it sounded crazy, Imagine a lady saying she wants to deal with she wants to rear cow. It sounded crazy, and he didn't laugh because he saw the serious. He was like, wait, you're serious? Wait, you're serious? I said, yes. He said, okay, no problem. I tried. I did not fail, but I did not make money. but but I learned.
Yeah.
I got better. I learned from the experience. Trust me, I learned. And the next business I thought of going into, I had specific questions to ask. What is the motility rate? How do you do this? What can I do? So I actually learned. It was a very good experience for me personally. So I cannot say I failed. I did not fail. But I learned. So that's that. And I'll also like to state that we need to make an effort to understand our partner's personalities. We all have different personalities. My husband is someone that just says it. Like, he sees something, he just tells you as it is. Sometimes I'm like, hey, you self, try and sugarcoat. You say, no, why? I'm telling you, but I'm someone that is very sensitive, So when I'm trying to tell you something, I'm looking for the right way to put it to you so that I really don't get to hurt your feelings and all that. But when you understand your partner's personality and his approach towards issues, you really will not have an issue, really, because it is what you see in your head that is an issue that becomes an issue. If you don't see something as a challenge, it won't be a challenge.
Yeah.
Until you see it as a challenge, then it is a challenge.
Yeah.
So thank you. I think your next one will be sexual satisfaction. Okay, you are saying something.
Yes. We have 2 questions.
Oh.
Yes, we have 2 questions. Like I said, because of time, I know that this is something that can take forever to discuss. I don't know if you can answer these 2 questions within 2 minutes. They are very important. That's why I want to ask them. Okay. The first one is, the first one says, is it okay to talk about finance before marriage when you have plans of quitting your job after wedding to learn a skill? Since for the meantime, the finance will come from your partner until your skill matures. Did you get that?
Okay. The person is saying that.
Yeah.
Okay. The person. Let me understand what you're trying to say. The person is saying that plans to quit her job after marriage.
Yeah.
And her partner is the one who is going to be financing until her business picks up.
Yes.
Okay.
So she's asking, the question is it still okay to talk about finance before marriage since you know this is your plan? Yeah, it is.
Yes, I'm guessing that this plan should be for both of them, not only her. I'm sure he's also aware that she intends to quit her job, start a business and all that. Yes, you should still talk about it, So he knows that, okay, my wife is starting a business. So for maybe 2-3 years, she might not be able to support that much, but he's going to, you need to talk about it. You cannot assume, but it's very important to talk about it. And of course, with dedication, your business will go forward, your business will stabilize, and with his support as well. So you definitely need to talk about it.
Yeah,
very important.
Okay. Yeah. Before we go ahead, you see this finance talk and business talk, please don't go, because we are going to talk about finance and wealth building. That's the last speaker. Please, I am begging you, even if you go and you are going to do something, please put your earpiece on your ear, because it is going to be very interesting. Some of these questions will also be touched when we get to that point. Yes. So the next question is, what if your husband doesn't support you having a business, but he wants you to grow in your career, but that's not what you want?
You don't want to work at all, you just want to do a business.
Yes, you want to do a business.
Or
you want to do
or you're working, but you want to do side hustle. Two different things.
From the question, I think the person is more tilted towards business, but the husband is not supporting the business, but the husband wants the person to go back to career, grow your career, don't do business. So what do you think?
Okay. Well, like I say, most issues are very peculiar to the marriage and to the individuality. If he wants you to grow your career, the career will also benefit you. No problem. Be growing your career, but you can also be working on your business plan small. He's your husband. The heart of kings is in God. Said the heart of kings is in his hands. He tilts it, to our favor. How much more the heart of your husband? Eventually, he will understand. You could ask him questions like, okay, why do you think I shouldn't do this business? Do you think I will not have I might not be able to concentrate, or you feel like I'm not business inclined? When you talk with him, not that I'm insisting, or I just want to know, your mindset. I want to understand why you're taking this position. I'm not saying you should hide and do the business. I'm saying keep your business plan. It's your dream. Write your vision, make it plain. It will eventually come to pass with your husband by your side. But you need, of course, to communicate. You need to communicate. Why do you think this would not work? Do you think I might not be able to achieve this business role? Or do you think it would distract my job? Or do you think, there's really nothing that communication cannot do? Truly, there's nothing. And if you don't talk with him, you really might not know what he's thinking or what his reasons are.
Yeah, okay. There's another question. This will be the last question, but for this person, I will advise that maybe you should reach out to me later. Okay, we can talk about it more. But Barrister, I will allow you to say something about it. It says, what if your husband, because it has to do with communication too. What if your husband wants you to focus in raising the kids? He doesn't support you doing business or working.
I would like to ask the person, did you people talk about this before you got married? Because I'm thinking that when it comes to the major issues like this, I don't want you to work. I want you to focus on raising the kids. I'm thinking you probably should have spoken about it before getting married. Now, if you didn't, or it just came up during the marriage, you also need him to understand the need for you to work. Besides, the first speaker spoke about working virtually. We have stay-at-home moms that work, so you could probably have ideas of online jobs you could do while at home and all that. Like you said, communication is the bedrock of everything. Yes, you want me to stay at home and take care of the kids. I can stay at home and take care of the kids, and I can still be on my system working and earning money, and we're in a virtual world these days, so I strongly believe that communication can help. You can also find a way around it. Give him ideas. He probably has his reasons, or I believe that both of you probably sat down to talk about it, and if you did not, it is time for you to sit down and talk with him. if the idea of staying at home does not sit well with you, by all means, don't be scared. Sit with him and talk with him and make him understand, why you feel you need to work, or how you can juggle it. You could give him ideas. Okay, while I'm at home, this is what I can do to also make some money for myself. If you can start up, you could start up and tell him, okay, while I was at home, see what I did though. See what I did, see what I was able to do, see the growth part I was able to create for myself. And he himself will see that, okay, she's at home, she's taking care of the kids, and she's still making waves, and I strongly believe that there's nothing that you cannot achieve if you put your mind to it. Yes, the way I probably got my success story might be different from yours. My circumstances will be different. Our challenges are different. But that's what the Holy Spirit does to us. He teaches us all things. He helps us find ways, to meander and come out of those challenges. So that's what I can say for now. But if you want me in, no problem. I can have a talk with her after this.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We are going to draw the curtain here on this particular topic. I just want to say a very big thank you, and I can say that everyone enjoyed this session, and please let us encourage her, let us give her some love. She has done marvelously well, and I know that.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much.